This is going to be the conclusion / introduction video of everything that has been covered in this course. So starting out simple, I'm going to go over here to our weapons. We created our weapon class. This weapon class contains easily changeable things such as what fire modes does the gun support, how many rounds can you do with burst fire, what is the fire rate. We can change all of the animations we need for the weapon. Same thing goes for our first person, like our arms montage, what animations to play for those. Same thing goes with our third person animations. And we have an easy way to customize the fire animations as well. So we can have different fire animations play randomly, so it's not always going to be the same. We control the magazine capacity, the total ammo that we can hold, and what field of view that our gun is going to use when we go to aim. Now this field of view gets overridden as well if there is an optic thrown on it, like for example, I'll show you the hollow sight here in a minute. That changes the camera field of view and the camera field of view speed that we use. We also have a controllable camera shake that we can easily set whenever we go to fire. So now if we come back up here and we look at our weapons, here we can see our attachments. So let's look at our hollow sight. So we can see the camera field of view and the camera field of view speed that this optic gives us, and we can easily change the attachment type it is, so we can choose what type the attachment will be. So in this case, it's an optic, so I select optic as the attachment type. Again, all this is overridden inside of the optic. We do the exact same thing. We have our iron sights, we have our muzzle device, and we can have even our own customizable class and attachments that we can use for our weapon customizer. Now for the weapon customizer, that is easily, well, probably best shown. So we can choose what guns we want to have. So I have an M16 here and a default weapon just for reference. I can choose what sight we put on it. So we can have the hollow sight. We can have the iron sights. Same thing goes, we can choose our muzzle device. And whenever we hit create, we are spawned with that weapon. So I can bring it back up. I can change to iron sights. And now I have iron sights. You can choose however you want your weapon, and it'll be that way. So that's easily controlled and driven through a data table. So if we look at our weapon customizer here, we have our struct for the firearm. So we have the firearm class, then the optics that it's compatible with, and then same thing goes with the muzzle devices that it's compatible with as well. So we come over here to our data table for the firearms. Here we have the M16 and the default weapon that you saw. So if we look at the M16, the compatible optics are the hollow sight and the iron sights. And for the muzzle device, it's just the birdcage. So we can easily create detailed parts that you want to have specific to each weapon, or if it's kind of something universal like the hollow sight, you can make several weapons make use of that. And it's all going to be filtered out because it's only going to show what is compatible with what weapon, and it will automatically attach it for you when you go to spawn it. Now moving on to some more gameplay related aspects. Let's go ahead and play with two clients here. So we start out and you choose what weapon you want. We have our alpha team and bravo team indicated by the color. So we do have scoring. So if we hold tab, we can see the kills and deaths. If I kill that guy, I now have 1 kill. He has 1 death. And the scoreboard is also filtered, so it's in order based off of team. So if your team is alpha, and let's say you have 3 people on your team and there's 2 people on bravo, it'll show alpha, 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 then bravo, bravo, based on the kills. And same thing goes for this guy. So everything is kept up and synced and replicated. We have our replicated aiming, so we look up and down, even though we're using a first-person mesh for the arms. We have a third-person mesh that other clients are going to see. We have replicated effects, so if I shoot, you can see the empty casings and the muzzle flash / smoke. We have our burst fire and full auto. And everything is replicated along with particles. We also have, in regards to effects, an easy way to set up what impact our materials will have. So for example, I have 3 cubes here. The left one, that shoots out flesh, so that's a flesh material. This one here is metal, and this one here is wood. And they also have impact sounds. That trigger according to their physical material. Now, obviously, players are going to be flesh. Then we have a default, which is what you see whenever I shoot anything else in the world, like so. So we have all that information set up, and it's easy to control. If we want to change it, I can just click on this wall. If I want this one to have a specific material, I can just manually select flesh, metal, or wood, or leave it as default. And same thing goes for any actual material. All you have to do is, for example, let me go over to the mannequin, character, materials. Let's say I want this material, the red one, to have a different physical material. We can change it, and it will now act as metal. Very simple, very easy to set up and customize, and the system takes over from there. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is just set, hey, this is a metal material, set it as metal, you're good to go. Now, when it comes down to spawning, we have 2 spawn points here. These are our game spawn points. If I go into unlit and go down, here we have a bunch of spawn points, and these are ones that are used for the initial spawning. So when a player loads into the server, they spawn down here, where they can select their weapon initially, and then once they select their weapon, they get spawned back up here into the game, and they are ready to play. So the way the spawning works is it's based off of your team. So if let's say you're Alpha and Bravo. If you're on Team Alpha and you die, let's say there is a Bravo right here where my camera is. There's an enemy on the other team. You're not going to spawn here at this spawn point. What it's going to do, it's going to get the spawn point that's farthest away from the players, well, on the enemy team. So what you would do is you would spawn over here. And if the enemy's over here, you would spawn over here. So it keeps you spawning at a farther point away from the enemy team. So that way you don't have to worry about a crappy spawn, well, hopefully, and having a player like right behind you, so you spawn and instantly get killed, because that's obviously no fun. So let's see, we covered our spawning, we covered our weapon. We have the basics for our widget. We have a very simple system for our widget. Here we have our main one. We have a widget switcher that's broken up into several portions. So here's our customizer. We have our scoreboard. We have our actual HUD and our final game over screen. Now, even though it's obvious, at the bottom right here, we do have an ammo HUD that is functional. We have our reload animations. We have different ones that play based off of what, if your magazine's empty or full, like so. We have the sound set up and triggered to play at a certain time. And same thing goes, we have it replicated in third person as well. So if I come over here to this guy, I can watch him reload. You know, it's playing the wrong weapon animation, which I just realized I forgot to import. So that will be in another video right before this one. So I got to make sure I remember to do that. But you have the same animation set to play there. And we have our game over. However, unfortunately, testing inside of the editor, you can't really test it. So if we come over here outside of the editor, we launch up a client and a server. So here we have the client, here we have the server. I have the max score only set to, I think, like, move this down, 100, I think, so it should be just 2 kills. So that's 1 kill. Another weapon. Bravo team 1. We lose all our input, we can't move, and then after a couple seconds, it will end up restarting the match, just like so. So now we have a new match. we can keep playing again and keep it going. And same thing, attachments as well are replicated. So for example, you'll see here in the red, I have a hollow sight. You can see it on the blue guy's screen. Let me go ahead and choose the iron sights. Head back over, and I have iron sights. So everything you see is going to be visually replicated and trickle down to other clients. And I did not mean to launch both of them. Let me close that guy. And let's see, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. We have all the basic logic. We can easily control how many kills and such that you need. So for example, we have the score to win and the incremental score value. That can easily be changed. We have all that set up. We have everything we need for the weapons. In our player state, we do have, well, that'll be actually in the C++ code. But in our game, or sorry, our player controller, we're handling all of our widget stuff. So for example, we have our on possession change. We have our own custom events that we trigger. And that kind of dictates what's going to happen with the HUD. Same thing, whenever we press Q, we open up the customizer. Whenever we press tab, we show the scoreboard and all that kind of stuff. We update our weapon ammo when we shoot, do the widget and all that kind of stuff. And same thing, we trigger everything over for the game over. Stuff like that that is built around the widgets. We will write the heavy functionality, like anything that's even remotely demanding. We write that in C++, and then we take over inside of Blueprint, because working with Blueprint in working with Blueprint when you're working with widgets, it is a night and day difference in how much easier that is. It's much cleaner and quicker to set everything up and make use of it. So that's what we're doing there. So we have our effects here. We have our physical materials. We also have sounds that we play. So for example, let me unmute the desktop sound, turn it up some. We have our reloads. Oops, I did not mean to click on mobile. So if I shoot, we have sound. Same thing when we reload, we have certain things that trigger. Like that. We have our impact sounds. So that's our flesh. Here's our metal, and here's our wood. All like that. So we have all of our sounds and everything that get triggered. I thought I had those set up to play earlier. And same thing goes, we have all of our empty cases and that kind of stuff, which should be somewhere in here, I think. Yeah, here's our empty cases. Go ahead, import and set up all our materials. Pretty much going from point A to point Z all the way through the list. We have everything that we need to build the base for a multiplayer team deathmatch. And that's really all you need to know. If you can get to the point where you work your way through this entire course and you are comfortable and you can make sense of what all is going on, then you will have no problem starting from scratch, building your own multiplayer replicated game, get in game mode. So you would be able to convert this to something like free-for-all, capture the flag, all of that stuff very easily. And that's what this course is meant for. It's kind of that introduction into not necessarily multiplayer programming, but focusing on the game mode aspects of things, the gameplay, and that kind of stuff. So we're not really polishing much. We're just getting the core features that we need implemented, set up, and ready to be tested and, well, just play tested. So anything extra that you feel like you want to add, you should be able to do so very easily, because this covers just the core mechanics, and you can easily set up whatever you need and make it customizable, because a big part of it is also exposing things down to the game designer. So that's why for things like our M16 here, all we have to do is just create one simple weapon class, and I can create literally whatever I want out of this. So I can make a 1911, Glock 18, full auto, semi-auto, and everything else. So that made it very simple to add whatever we want. So that is going to be all. I hope you enjoyed the course. If you have any questions or you want to see anything else in the future, as always, my Discord is open, and there will be a dedicated channel for this series. So, if you have any questions or anything like that, please feel free to post, ask, or discuss anything you want related to the course in those channels. And as always, well, I won't be seeing you next time because there's no more videos after this. Well, unless you're watching this first. So, take care.